I'm Chef Dylan Jones from Bo.lan restaurant. We've been open now coming up to 8.5 years, and we're doing Thai food. The reason I chose to work in Thailand is basically because I met my wife in England and she wanted to come back to Thailand, so I followed her. But the secondary reason, and probably just as important, is the fact that I love cooking Thai food and I have a passion for learning more about Thai food, so I felt coming to Thailand was a natural progression for me. I don't think I chose to cook Thai food. Thai food chose me. When I went to England as a young cook, I made my resume for many restaurants, and the first one that got back to me was a Thai restaurant. So I started working in there, and then I fell in love with the cuisine, I fell in love with the food, the techniques, and the overall culture of Thai food as well. So for me, it sort of just grabbed me and I didn't want to cook anything else. One, I like to cook Thai food at a professional level more than I like to cook Western food. Two, I wanted to discover more about Thai food, and in Thailand I can do that because I have access to all the ingredients and a lot more of the history of Thai food, which I can find in books and articles, stuff like that. And I think the produce for Thai food is better in Thailand than it is anywhere else, so I wanted to work with that. And I think Western food, to cook Western food in Thailand is not necessary because there's already a lot of restaurants doing Western food, and we felt that there's a lot of Thai food in Thailand but not a lot of really good restaurants doing upscale Thai food in this sort of environment. In Australia and England, especially in the kitchens, the culture in the kitchen is probably more professional because the people coming into the kitchens in general, they want to be there, they have a passion for what they're doing, and they really want to strive to become the best at their job. Whereas from my experience in Thailand, not everyone, but a lot of the people who are cooking, they come because it's an option that they do because they haven't been to university or they haven't had any formal education, so it's a job that everybody can do. So they might not necessarily have a passion for it. So for me, that's been probably the largest challenge, is trying to get people to be passionate and excited about what they're doing on a daily basis. Staff is probably our biggest problem when we first started. We went through at least 3 full kitchen teams in the first sort of 3 months because both of us had never really worked with Thai people before. Bo had worked with Thai people, but not as a boss, just as a puan tam nam, as like a colleague. Whereas I'd only ever worked with Westerners, except for Bo. And so the way we dealt with the staff was very different. In England, if something was wrong, I tell them very straight. I swear at them, I yell at them, I threaten them to fire them or whatever, and to make them work faster and harder. But in Thailand, we had to change our approach, and we had to say, excuse me, can you please do this again, explain it a little bit more, and be a little bit more gentle with them. Probably the fact that a lot of the cooks I'm getting in the kitchen aren't professionally trained, so I expected them to have a certain knowledge about basic things like hygiene and how to deal with food in a professional way, but we didn't necessarily get that from a lot of our staff, so we had to teach them from the start almost, which was pretty strange for me. I never expected to have to teach someone how to hold a knife or how to change a chopping board when they go from using fish to chicken or chicken to pork or something like that. That was pretty weird for me. Another weird thing was just the way the mentality of the people in Thailand are and how they work is a lot different. In England, for example, if we weren't ready for service at 6 o'clock, we would just keep working, have no break, have no lunch, have no breakfast, no dinner, whatever. But in Thailand, when we opened the restaurant, the staff would, by 4:30, they'd stop working and go on a break for 45 minutes and then come back, even if they weren't ready for service. They didn't see that as a big problem. So for me, that was really strange to come to terms with the mentality. Well, I guess we tried to build a kitchen culture outside of Thai culture. So we tried to instill in the staff, teach the staff how to be professional, and then we tried to encourage them when they were professional to keep doing it. And now the kitchen culture in Bo.lan is very different. When we first opened, now I can yell and scream and swear at people and they still stay with us because they know I'm not yelling at them personally. I'm yelling at them for their professional as their work and not an attack on them. So So that's one way we do it. Another way is to engage them a bit more and ask them about their family, about their friends, about their life a bit more, take more interest in them, make the kitchen feel more like a family, which is very Thai style, as opposed to Westerners who just work. So that's sort of some ways. And I think as well is coming together and eating together, making sure we sit down and have a meal together. It definitely helps to build the family feeling and the staff morale. At the start, sometimes yes, a little bit. I wanted to push a bit more, I wanted to be more aggressive, but I couldn't, so I sort of missed that way. But now I'm used to the way of the culture here and the kitchen culture here, so for me it's normal now. So I don't really miss it. And plus I'm in Thailand, working with the food I love, with the ingredients I love, and with the people I love, so no, I don't miss it. I had to look at a situation differently, so I had to learn to be more patient and more understanding of different cultures, and also the fact that coming to Thailand I was the minority made me appreciate when other people come to another country, how they are dealt with. So you need to have more compassion, I guess, and that really made me understand what it feels like to be different. I think it's just to live every day to the fullest, to try and make each day the best day it can be, to make sure that we produce the best food we can produce on it every day, and that we're only as good as our last service, so we should never relax and say that yesterday was good so today is fine. We should always keep pushing for excellence and keep striving to make ourselves better.
My name is Tom. I'm the restaurant manager here at Thai-Nichi. I'm from Thailand, but I study abroad and then I came back to Thailand. I have to manage the restaurant. I have to manage the kitchen. We have a barista and we have a service. So generally, I look after everything here. So anything that's broken or anything that needs to be fixed or needs to be improved, it's my job to update. So as you can see, we are the kind of like, a kind of like a coffee cafe, but it's not a coffee cafe. But the first generally mission is for us is to introduce people to what really coffee is. So as you can see, if you look at our menu, we have brunch, we have lunch, dinner, we have wine, we have beer. So it's not just coffee, generally it's everything. First we were going to do it in Singapore. So you can see in Singapore there's too many competitors, and it costs a lot because the cost of the living. So in Thailand it's perfect place because the cost of living is not that much, but we can still produce the same quality of coffee, service, and other kind of like dark and thin juice to the people. Well, there's always a cultural difference in every country. For example, in England, for you guys.
Thank you.
And so begin. Yeah. So for example, in England, as you can see, is they kind of like more like they don't have age qualification for like respect or whatever. You know, in Thailand, it's like a good people know kind of thing, you know. But in England, it's just like kind of like work is work, no messing about. You know, it doesn't matter how old you are, you know. So that is a big difference in Thailand. I've been to America, England at part-time for studying England, and I've been to Singapore. There's always a problem every day. I mean, even when it's normal to have problems, you can have internal problem, external problem. For example, internal problem mean like have problem with your staff, turning up late, not working well, not putting up to the standard. External problem mean that like for example, we will have sometimes we have a bad mood customer, just come in suddenly just be a problem and stuff like that. If it's external, we have to see that is it worth it or is it not worth it. I mean, if the problem is tiny, you know, then of course it's my job to fix it. So I try to ease the problem, keep it bad. And if it's internal, we will have rule and regulation. So hopefully we can use the rule to apply to the internal problem. No, I didn't start as a manager yet. I started at as being a supervisor. Is because being a supervisor is kind of easy. You don't have to like solve the problem. Because being a supervisor, what you do, you take the inventory, you go to work early, finish job, you know, and everything is done. If you have any problem, you inform the manager or the assist manager. But what I learned is I could be more than that because my boss, you know, Dr. Phillip. So he keep pushing me. So at first he pushed me to become assist manager, and then then he pushed me to manager. So I learned a lot from him, pushing me. So I learned how to solve problem, managing people, managing time, you know, that's managing my time as well. Hey, don't wish for it, work for it. You know?
Okay.